Fame is a strange thing. It builds walls around people. Assistance, security, controlled environments, a carefully managed version of reality. But every once in a while, something breaks through all of that. A familiar face, a shared memory. Someone who knew you before any of this mattered. Today, we're looking at the moments when celebrities were completely caught off guard by people from their past. Teachers, neighbors, old classmates, childhood friends. And I promise you, some of these will genuinely get you. Let's start. Hugh Jackman and former student. Hugh Jackman was working a red carpet. Full press mode, cameras everywhere. When he spotted someone he recognized in the crowd. Turns out, Hugh had once been a physical education teacher at a school in London before the acting career took off. And this person standing in front of him? A former student. Hugh didn't do the polished celebrity nod and move on. He stopped completely, introduced him to the cameras, and told the whole crowd who this person was to him. Former teacher, former student. Completely unplanned. Just two people colliding across time. Luke Bryan, an old neighbor. Luke Bryan was mid-concert when a voice from the audience cut right through the noise. It belonged to an 88-year-old woman named Bernice Williams, his childhood next-door neighbor. She hadn't come with any expectation of being noticed. She was just there. But Luke heard her, recognized her immediately, and brought the entire arena into a moment that had nothing to do with the set list. He called her name. He brought her into the spotlight, and thousands of strangers cheered for a woman they'd never heard of, simply because what they were watching was undeniably real. Pierce Brosnan, an Irish journalist. Pierce Brosnan sat down for what should have been a completely standard press interview. And then the journalist mentioned a town in Ireland, Navan, County Meath. Pierce's hometown. Same streets, same landscape, same corner of the world. The composed, polished version of Pierce Brosnan immediately gave way to something more unguarded. He talked about the river, his grandfather's house, the specific geography of a place that never really leaves you, regardless of how far you travel or how many Bond films you make. Sometimes the most disarming thing in the world is simply hearing the name of where you're from. Mike Tyson and childhood acquaintance. Mike Tyson stopped to take a photo on the street, a routine celebrity moment. Except the person asking for the photo looked at him and said, calmly and directly, "You robbed me when I was 8 years old." The silence that followed was heavy. Tyson didn't deny it. He didn't deflect. He just said sorry. No cameras had been set up for this. No producers arranged it. It was a completely accidental collision between who Mike Tyson became and where Mike Tyson came from. And to his credit, he stood in that uncomfortable moment and owned it. Michael B. Jordan and high school bully. Not every reunion gets to be warm. Michael B. Jordan came face to face during an interview with someone who, by their own admission, used to make fun of him in high school. The guy tried to laugh it off. Michael didn't exactly let him off the hook either. There was a very specific energy in the room that only exists when someone who doubted you has to sit across from what you became. No dramatic confrontation, just the quiet weight of a past that didn't go anywhere. Carlos Santana and Marcus Malone. This one is heavier. A news crew discovered that Marcus Malone, the original drummer who played with Santana in the early days, had fallen on extremely hard times and was living on the streets. They tracked Carlos Santana down and set up a reunion between the two men who hadn't seen each other in 4 decades. When Santana saw him, he called him magnificent. He held him. He told him he was beautiful. 40 years of distance collapsed in about 30 seconds. Whatever had separated them over the years, none of it mattered anymore. Lady Gaga and Sister Bio. Lady Gaga was back at her old school, filming a documentary about her life, when she turned a corner and came face to face with Sister Bio, a nun who had taught her years ago. Gaga, who commands stages like few performers alive, completely melted. She grabbed her, held her, and then described exactly how she used to greet her every single morning. The specific ritual of a schoolgirl being polite in the hallway. Sister Bio, for her part, said she was proud not just of the fame, but of how Gaga uses it to give back. That's the kind of compliment that actually means something. Selena Gomez, an old classmate. Selena Gomez was revisiting her childhood neighborhood as part of a documentary when she crossed paths with a former classmate who now lived just down the street. The classmate's daughter was there too, young enough to be starstruck, but old enough to understand that this famous person on her doorstep had once sat in the same classroom as her mom. Selena handled it with total warmth, the kind that doesn't feel performed. Because it wasn't. Jennifer Lopez and the Bronx resident. Jennifer Lopez went back to the Bronx building she grew up in, knocked on the door, and tried to explain who she was to the current resident. The woman had absolutely no idea who Jennifer Lopez was. Zero recognition. J-Lo had to spell it out. Jennifer Lopez, me. And still got a blank stare. Which is honestly a perfect ending. You can become one of the most famous people on the planet and still find yourself standing in a hallway, explaining yourself to a stranger who lives in your old bedroom. Fame truly does not travel everywhere. That's what all of these moments have in common when you strip everything else away. Fame builds distance. It separates people from their origins, puts glass between them and the past. But then someone says a hometown, holds up a yearbook photo, walks through a door, and just like that, the distance collapses. These reunions aren't viral because celebrities are fascinating. They're viral because they remind us that behind every famous name is a person who once had a next-door neighbor, a math teacher, a childhood friend, a bus stop they walk to every morning. And none of that ever fully goes away. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.